What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this cool LED light whip for 26 bucks. Let's get into it. Here are some of the first basic parts that you're going to need to build this DIY LED light pole, whip pole, whatever you want to call it. These right here are air compressor fittings. Now, I bought these in a pack. These two I did not. I had to go to Home Depot or go to any of your local hardware stores to buy these things. I had these originally already. I also had to buy this set screw. Now these, I'll show you here in a minute what this is for. We're going to connect some of these things together and I'll show you why. Okay, so if you're going to go the route that I went and you want a quick disconnect for your whip pole, take a male air compressor fitting here, a coupling, and a male-to-male adapter or whatever you want to call this thing. I'm not sure what this is. I got these in a kit. Now you could buy all these at Home Depot or your local hardware store pretty cheap. Now I had these left over, and if you're anything like me, you'll probably have some spare air compressor parts left over. If not, I'll put a link in the description down below where you can get some of these things. I found a few cheap packs on Amazon that have all the things that you need. We're going to connect these things together, so we'll just screw these in like this and screw this one in like this. Now this one I can thread in more. That's where these wrenches come in handy. All we're going to do is make sure these are on here pretty tight. They actually help seal these things from, stop these things from spinning. It's like almost like a locker, thread locker. Now I'm not sure if that's what this is. They work like that, so it works for my purpose. In my coupling, I drilled a hole, so you will need a drill. Now, you don't have to do this, but I did it for extra measure so my rod or whip pole does not come out of this thing. And what you're going to want to do is drill a hole through here and get one of these small set screws. I actually want a smaller one, not smaller in diameter, but smaller in length so that it doesn't stick out as far. And you just drill a hole the size of the set screw. Now, if you're good and you have a tap and die set, you can tap this and get it so where you can thread this set screw in. I do not have one, so the pack that I bought had two of them. It was $1.12 for two, and the first one I just used over and over again, screwing it in and out slowly over and over and over until it made actual threads into this coupling. And that actually worked for me, but as you can see, there is a hole straight through, and our pole will slide perfectly into here, almost all the way down to here. So you have that much room like that the pole is going to be held with. So because I already have my pole wrapped up, I'm not going to be able to show you the full length of what this is, but I will post a picture right now. This is a driveway reflector. They're just little poles that you stick in the ground to help reflect and show people where your driveway is. They're $2.25 from Home Depot at my local Home Depot. These things are 4 foot long. They do have a bigger version that's 6 foot, but in that case, you will have to get a longer strip of LEDs. We'll talk about those here in a minute. But right now, all you have to do is take your little contraption we made here that we threaded together with our set screw, and it slides perfectly over this driveway reflector. I mean, it's tight on there already. There's no wiggle room or nothing, and it's kind of hard to pull off. But once you put it on, if you actually tilt the rod up and hit it on the ground a couple times, it'll force it into the little rig we made more and keep it in there tighter. And then once you screw your set screw all the way in, you won't have to worry about this thing coming out. Now, for your LEDs, I found this cheap set on Amazon for $7. This thing is awesome, and I'll link it in the description down below. So next we're going to get to the quad. Now here's on my 400 I have a metal mount that's connected directly on the frame of the quad. This thing works perfectly for our quick connector. This connector slides right in the hole. That's why we have this female connector like this, because I could not find one that threads onto this thing perfectly like these ones do. So now you just thread this on here, and then your quick disconnect is ready to go. And once you get your pole ready, you'll just slide your pole in like that and it'll be connected. So I'm actually going to put this on for you guys just to show you what I mean. That slips in. This piece here threads directly on. All you need is a wrench on the bottom and a wrench on the top. The bottom is a 5/8 and the top is a 3/4. Now you want to make sure this thing is pretty tight. You don't want it going anywhere. And like I said, that red thread stuff on here keeps this thing from moving around. And there you go. Wiring up these LEDs is super simple. You got a power supply, a remote box, and then your strips. So the power supply is just 2 wires. You need to connect those to either your battery terminals, the positive and negative side, or do like I did and hook them up directly into your wiring harness for your tail light. The only issue with the tail light, the lights can only run whenever your headlights are on, which isn't an issue for me. Once you have everything wired up, I would go ahead and do like I did and add a bunch of black tape or something to waterproof the remote box, because those don't seem to be waterproof. So all you have to do now, once you got everything wired up, is just attach your LED light strip to the power connector right here, plug your pole in, and flip your headlights on. Okay, so a couple of things are still going to happen too when you wrap these LEDs up that you need to do. As you can see, their waterproof coating has ripped because they're not meant to be wrapped this tight around something. So what that means is now they're not waterproof. So what we're going to have to do is make them waterproof. And in order to do that, we're going to use some heat shrink. And I'll show you guys how I do that. Here's the brand of heat shrink tubing I used. I'll link this down in the description down below. It's a 4-foot section, a 3-to-1 shrink. This is a sample of it. This stuff is pretty thick and durable, so I'm hoping it works out pretty well. I didn't record the process of me heat shrinking the LED strip. It's a pretty simple process. I don't have a heat gun. I did have a propane torch like this, and this thing seemed to work out. I put it on the lowest setting, but be really careful when you're torching this thing on there. I mean, really careful. You can use a hair dryer. It will just take a lot longer. That would probably be the safer way to do it. Here's the LEDs with the heat shrink on. As you can see, the heat shrink doesn't take anything away from these things. Now, I do have another version that I can make that's going to be a lot brighter than this. It's going to have double the LEDs, and I'll have that down in the description below. That's going to wrap this video up, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. All right, peace.